Alright y'all, what's up? We are here for Baddies ATL, the reunion. We are here now. If you are new here, thumbs up this video, drop a comment down below, even if it is a what's up. Drop that down below. Go ahead and subscribe. We're going to get into this review right now. We are at the reunion. Hopefully it's something good. Judging by that trailer, it didn't look like it was too much, but we will see. Alright, so okay. I was about to get straight into it. It was so irritating at first because the first intro, they got the, you know how they do the intro with the music and they showing the scenery and whatnot. That shit took 2 minutes. Why are we taking 2 minutes to get to the footage? But they got to the footage, the girls are getting out the car, they're arriving to the set where they're shooting the reunion, yada yada. And then we get Jason Lee. He starts off talking about how he's here for the girls and he's trying to see what the mess is. He's read a lot of shit on the blogs and all the girls are coming for Natalie. And then we get into scenes with Sidney and Christina. They're paired up together. Tanisha's in her room talking to Amber from one of the previous BGC seasons. And then we got Seven and Janelle together. And then we got Natalie in a room with Jason Lee. And then Judi joins Tanisha. So all the girls are talking about Natalie. And Sidney kicks it off. Sidney's like, okay, well, I hear Natalie's here. And Christina's like, well, yeah, I saw Natalie and I saw her with cornrows going back. And Tanisha is talking on the phone to Amber about how she's dressed, like saying like Natalie's dressed in scrubs. She called it hospital scrubs. To me, that's just shit that you would wear if you know you about to fight. And Natalie knows she about to fight because Sarah was releasing the audio when they were filming this video, when they were filming the reunion. So Natalie knew she was about to fight. She already knew she had no choice but to because she got audio leaked on her talking shit about Christina, talking shit about Seven. And those are the two alone that she knew she had to get ready for because the two of them ain't the ones that she want to play with. But she's talking shit about all the girls. But those two in general are the two that she was worried about. She ain't gonna say she was worried about it, but she knew she was worried about it. That's why she's dressed the way she is. And yeah, all the girls are sitting there talking about her and saying how like, she fake, and Sidney was saying that she was very hurt by it. She's the only one that's hurt per se, because she looked at Natalie as a friend. You got Seven and Janelle talking, and Seven's like, I ain't never looked at her as a friend. I never thought she was my friend. I ain't stupid, but I'm just shocked that she's shocked that she was dumb enough to say the shit that she said. And she said she got to check her. And then Christina's ready for Natalie as she always is. And it was funny too because Judi was talking to Tanisha and Tanisha was like, well, Natalie's dressed the way she is as an EP, yada, yada, yada. But she was out here talking about us as EPs. And Judi was like, yeah, y'all sucked. She said it straight to her face. And I'm like, literally, like she's not lying. Y'all did suck as EPs. Like y'all literally said it over and over again. I'm an EP, I'm an EP, I'm an EP. But y'all ain't do shit. Like, this shit is trash. But Judi told her flat out to her face that y'all suck. And it's the truth. Jason is messy. But we get the next shot of Tamar. Tamar is coming through. I'm trying to get in the center of this damn. I'm trying to keep this shit focused in the middle. But we get Tamar coming in, and Tamar's coming and she's hosting with Jason Lee. And Tamar's like, yeah, she's been getting a lot of shit sent to her. Basically, Sarah airing Natalie's ass out online. And she's like, well, Natalie's got a lot of shit she got to answer for, which she do. And she meets up with Jason Lee in Jason's apartment, in Jason's trailer. And basically they're talking together and Tamar's like, I feel it in my spirit, a fight's about to happen. And she was asking him if he feels that, and he was like, yeah, I want one. I want to see a fight. And it's funny because the two of them being hosts, I think is going to be good because they're going to counteract each other. Jason is so messy, he's wanting the fights. Tamar does not want the fight, she wants resolution. But Jason Lee's talking about how he's going to ask all the questions that the fans want to know. Thank you. He said that he told Natalie that he wasn't going to ask those questions. And basically he was like, well, she lied to these girls and I just lied to her. And I had to lie to her because I wanted to get my check. And I don't know if she's the one writing the checks. And him and Tamar were laughing and goofing off and shit. And basically they feel like a fight's going to happen. And I don't think one's going to happen judging by that trailer. But if something does happen, that's going to be interesting. But basically they're like, yeah, she got to answer for this shit. So we get to the reunion. Tamar and Jason, they just basically do their introductions and stuff and whatnot. And then we get Matt Cash. Yeah, Matt Cash is the singer, the rapper of the theme song. And he's out here performing as the girls come out. For the most part, they all look really good, truthfully. And they all sit down, and as they're sitting down, Tamar introduces each one of the girls individually. And they start with Natalie, especially considering how Natalie's dressed. The rest of the girls are in dresses, in heels, and Natalie is in a white tee, some sweatpants, and some forces. Well, some cornrows, like I said. And they basically ask her, like, why are you dressed like this? And she's like, well, you know, I mean, you just got to come the way you got to come, yada, yada, yada. She didn't want to say in front of them girls, I'm scared. Or not even scared, just, I know one of these girls might try and come for me, so I'm trying to be prepared. But Natalie, you know how Natalie is. She just tries to play it off like she ain't bothered, but she was bothered. And then we get on to Judi, Tanisha, and then they go to Judi. And Judi is getting compliments because Judi looked good. Like, Judi looked real good. And then you start giving her compliments, and of course, Sidney's gonna start butting in, talking shit. And they're going back and forth, and it's funny because they're both wearing pink. And as Tamar and Jason said, like, y'all literally are matching at this point. Like, and Sidney's like, yeah, because she wants to be me. And Judy's like, no, she wants to be me because she's the fan. They're going back and forth like they always do. And they get down the line. They're just talking to everybody, like I said. And after they get through to Janelle, Sidney starts talking shit. And she said this one line right here was funny to me. Like I said, Sidney has gotten funnier to me towards the end of the show. She's funny when she's not trying to be funny. Even though she was trying to be funny, but this time it actually hit. Even though it's not true. But they were saying Janelle looks really, really good. And like, Janelle looks really good. Like, really good. And Sidney goes, and Maury said that was a lie. When she said that. Like, it was perfectly timed too. Like, directly after they said it, she said her line. It was funny. Just the line itself was funny. But it wasn't funny because it was true. It wasn't true at all. Janelle looked good. But then they start going back and forth. Sidney and Judi are now back and forth, arguing again, just talking about each other's lace and saying each other got Party City wigs and yada, yada, yada. And then they go into this montage of the best moments from the season when ain't much happened from the season. So, all right, I will say this reunion is actually pretty well structured. And when I say that, Tamar and Jason are both really good hosts. If you watch the Jocelyn's reunion, that shit was not controlled at all. The host was Lunel, who didn't do anything, and then you got the big boss of Zeus, his girlfriend, baby mama, wife, whatever she is. She couldn't handle Jocelyn. Jocelyn was walking all over her. These two are actually controlling the reunion and actually asking questions, giving the girls chances to speak and whatnot, just controlling it as well. So I did write some notes down so I can keep myself in check. So when we came back, Sidney and Judi, like I said, they were just going back and forth. But Jason then brings up how Sarah's missing from the show, or missing from the reunion, and asking the girls how they feel about it and whatnot. And Sidney says she thinks that Sarah was a coward for not showing up. And Natalie agrees, Tanisha agrees, but the rest of the other girls, Christina, Seven, and Janelle to a certain extent disagree. But really, the only two that really disagreed was Sidney and was Seven and Christina. But basically, they were talking about how Sarah went ahead and released all the videos and whatnot and the audio of Natalie. Sidney had brought up how she had spoken to Sarah prior to coming to the reunion about the stuff. She said it was like a week before. Seven pops in, Janelle pops in and says, yeah, she spoke to us about it as well, saying that she's going to drop the audio as well, but wasn't coming to the reunion. And they basically asked Natalie, like, how do you feel about it? Natalie said she feels like it was cowardice. Natalie was pretty short-worded. She didn't say too much in that moment in regards. She said she felt like it was coward-like for her to not show up to the reunion. Janelle said that she felt like it was coward-like. She said, like, she feels like she should have just shown up to the reunion to say her piece, which I agree. She should have shown up to say her piece. You can drop the audio, but just come to the reunion too. Say what you got to say in here, in her face. And if you want to drop the audio after the fact, do that. But she didn't do that. She went about it the way she did, so that is what it is. So then they go ahead and start talking to Christina, and Christina is clocking Natalie. She's clocking her this entire, and Christina is very, you can tell Christina has grown up in a way. Because if you watched her on her original season of the show, Christina, quick to pop. But she's speaking very reasonably. She's saying, like, her and Natalie had a decent relationship going into this. And then she found out from Sarah that Natalie was talking all this shit about her. And saying, like, Natalie has basically used all of Christina just being a woman and just coming to her and telling her certain things about her life and threw it back in her face. And then saying like with the addiction and stuff, and her saying that she's not talented. Well, she said that she was talented, but she's not signed to a record label, which you don't need to be signed to a record label to be talented. And most artists not signing to a record label, it's a plus and a minus to not have a record label. Having a record label, you have that extra push. You got people that can promote you, depending on what label you choose. But if you go independent, you get to touch your money first. Like being with a label, you don't touch your money first. They got to go through a couple different people before it gets to you, because they got to get cuts as well. You being an independent, you get all your money. But that's besides the point. But basically, she's saying like, Natalie's talking all this shit about us, but you won't lay out your shit. Like, you got a lot of shit that you need to be talking about, things that happen in your life that you don't want to talk about. And Tamar then asked Natalie what she thinks about that. And Natalie sounded like she was about to start to give an apology. And Tamar was like, oh, so you about to apologize? And this is why I say Tamar is good. Tamar is holding Natalie accountable for the bullshit she's saying. And Natalie was claiming she was about to apologize, but she immediately starts to blame Sarah for the shit that she said about Christina. She's saying all the shit that she was talking about Christina, Sarah told her. Which, yes, that is shady of Sarah too. But it don't, I mean, it's two people. Y'all both are wrong in this situation. Y'all both are talking shit. Sarah is exposing you for the shit that you're saying, but like Seven said in one of her YouTube videos, it's a two-way street. Both of them ain't shit because they both are talking shit. Natalie's not just talking shit by herself. Sarah's having these conversations with her as well, to where she feels like she can talk shit to Sarah. And Sarah's probably saying shit too, but she dropped the audio of Natalie talking shit. But that's what Natalie's basically doing, saying that Sarah's the reason why she was talking shit about her and yada, yada, yada. And Tamar was basically, she was getting sick of Natalie. She was like, you're not, like, this is not an apology. Like, you did this, you did that. And then she was basically saying, like, Natalie is too busy thinking about Natalie. Because Natalie said, all these other girls have heard about the shit that I'm saying, but has anybody thought about Natalie? If Natalie's heard about anything? But Natalie, you claim that you not heard about nothing, so you really ain't heard. You know you're not heard. You're just trying to get some sympathy. But Tamar was not buying none of that shit. None of it. And as they're having this little back and forth situation, Judi, I love Judi to death. I love Judi. She gets up as they're having this conversation. There's a glass, looks like, I guess, champagne. Judi gets up and takes a drink from that champagne, and they looking at her like she's crazy. But she then goes over to Jason to give him a hug, and he immediately gets up like, hell no, don't touch me. We in the middle of COVID. And of course, Sidney starts chiming in, talking her shit. Janelle was like, I told you to ask people before you start touching them, which is true. Like, we in the middle of COVID. Nobody wants you touching them like that. We get Christina, and Christina's talking about how, like, everything Sarah was saying was true and whatnot, but she feels like the way she went about it is taken away from the reunion that the girls have been working towards, and it feels like it's taking attention away from what it should be on in terms of with the fans. But she's basically saying like, yeah, this is true, and everything that she's saying is true, but I feel like she should have come here to do that because she's now taking attention away from what we're trying to do and what we worked towards getting done. And as she's saying all this, Judi is interjecting, and everybody's visibly getting irritated but not saying anything. But Christina eventually then tells her, like, Judi, and she said it in a very calm, very approachable way, like, Judi, cut it out, like, I'm trying to speak. So as she allows her to speak, she finishes saying that, and then we get on to Seven, and Jason asks Seven, like, yes, we hear that Natalie has been talking about your son and mentioned your child. And Seven's like, yeah, like, my son don't be involved in grown folks' business. I don't put my son in grown folks' business. I don't expect grown folks to be speaking on my son. 100% agree. And she was saying, Seven was saying too, how them bitches is fake. Like, she said she don't deal with bitches like that because, like, she said typically girls that she don't fuck with, and just people that she don't fuck with in real life, if she don't like them, she ain't gonna be friends with them, she ain't gonna be talking to them, she ain't gonna be talking about them and being kissing in their face and stuff. And then she said that's how these girls are. She brought up how the night before they filmed the reunion, Natalie was up in her face trying to hug her and whatnot, and Seven was like, stiff arm, like, bitch, back up, I don't fuck with you, you know that. And I agree with Seven. I'm on the same page as her. I would be the same way. Like, I don't be playing with people like that. If I don't like you, don't come near me, don't speak to me, don't say nothing about me, and we won't have no issues. And Seven was basically saying, like, yeah, these bitches is fake. Like, I don't move like that. And she was irritated about that. And as Seven is finishing saying that, Judi then chimes in saying that Sarah had exposed that Natalie had basically told Sarah to call Sidney a man. And Sidney said she was hurt about that. And Natalie was trying to say something, but they cut her off. Judi and Sidney, because they're arguing still, like they're consistently arguing throughout this entire reunion. So they're the reason why a lot of things aren't necessarily getting resolved or getting some type of conclusion, because they're continuously butting in. Sidney's hurt about Natalie talking shit about her and apparently saying that she's not going to be returning for season 2. And it's stupid to me, because I'm like, why do you care to be on season? But that's Sidney. Sidney wants to be on TV. Sidney wants to be on TV. Sidney wants to be on these Bad Girls Club shows. So out of all the girls, she's the one that wants to be on the next season the most. And hearing that Natalie is not trying to bring her back, that hurts her feelings. And then Judi and Sidney start going back and forth again. And then Judi's talking about how she's not transphobic and yada, yada, yada. And then we end up watching a clip. Woo! These two, man. I wish they would get off of these two, because these two don't shut up. Sidney and Judi going back and forth this is all them. They're just literally trying to wrangle them. Like, it's like they're kids that they're trying to get control over. But basically, they showed the montage. Jason thinks that Judi is transphobic. Tamar disagrees. I disagree as well, but maybe I'm not one to speak. I don't feel like Judi is transphobic. I've said it before. Maybe the things she said were transphobic, but I feel like she's only said those things to counteract what Sidney had said to her. Sidney was calling her a man. So Sidney just threw it back in her face. Maybe it is transphobic. Now I'm sitting here saying it and thinking, maybe it is, but I don't think she is transphobic. I don't think she has any issue with transphobic people. But, I mean, that is what it is, to each his own. But Sidney said that she herself went on record and said that she does not think that Judi is transphobic because they are best friends. Whatever that means. But she said that she doesn't think she's transphobic. She talks about how they were super duper close. They always hung out every single day. They went and got drunk together. Judi would drive Sidney would drive Judi home drunk. She literally said that on a live broadcast, well, not live, but nationally broadcast show, that she drives Judi home drunk. Judi's drunk while she's driving her drunk home. Wow. But Natalie is trying to speak in regards to the shit where Sarah had said that Natalie had told Sarah to call Sidney a man, but she can't even get it out because they keep interjecting every single time she tries to speak. Sidney then gets up and throws Lucky Charms on Judi and basically says, "You've been served breakfast on the couch," doing everything she's seen on previous reunions to try and act like a bad girl, like she's always been doing the entire season. Judi's basically laughing in her face like, you're literally a clown, like you're out here doing shit that fans do, which is what she's doing. And the funny part was, Sidney takes it upon herself to try and kick some Fruit Loops, or kick some Lucky Charms. And as she's kicking them, she falls. Like, that leg comes straight from underneath her and she goes straight to that floor. Like, stupid, like just dumb. And then Sidney basically was claiming that she goes back to talking about how Judi's the reason why she was not on Bad Girls Club. And then they get into this whole conversation in regards to Sidney not being on BGC9. And Tanisha starts to butt in, and then Tanisha and Sidney are now arguing. Can't really understand what's going on because they're arguing, and as they're arguing, Jason's talking to Judi, and Judi's pleading her case to him. She's not transphobic, she's bisexual, but she doesn't have any issues with the trans community, yada yada. And basically, Sidney then says that she has screenshots that prove that the producer, that the so-called producer that she claims that told her that she was a replacement, she's got a screenshot of her basically texting the woman to basically get on video, post a video of her stating who she is and that Sidney was a replacement. And she's telling the woman, "I will pay you for this," which is so stupid. Like, you literally go into these links to prove something, even though you know it's not true. I don't think it's true. But you're going to these links to prove that you are a replacement for a show that is canceled. Why does it matter that deeply? But the woman then responds and says, like, "I signed a contract to not disclose anything about the process as well. They can sue me." And she said she doesn't mind her tagging her in the comments, I guess on her Instagram or Twitter or whatnot. And Sidney gets up and starts clapping and saying, that's the confirmation, that's the confirmation. And everybody on the stage is like, no, it's not. Like, that's not confirmation. And 7 is the most projecting in terms of saying, like, that's not confirmation. And Sidney starts getting loud and bucking with 7, talking about something, that is confirmation. And 7 goes, 7 said, what? She basically got up and was like, watch who you talking to. 7 went real quick, went back, because she was coming at 7 like this. And 7 was like, back it up. Watch what you do. I'm about to show you the clip.
That's confirmation right there. I don't mind.
So then we get them now talking about how Sidney is basically doing the most. She's now trying to attack Janelle, and Judy's basically saying, like, you attack biological women, then when we retaliate, it's now an issue, and now we're transphobic because we're coming back at you for saying shit about us as biological women, calling us calling us transgender. Which, like I said earlier in the season, like, that's exactly what she's doing. She knows that if they say something back, the trans community is going to get on them and start calling them transphobic and whatnot. But it's like, you can't pick and choose how one person comes for somebody, because she's out here calling them trans when they're not. What are they to say back? It's like they can't even say nothing back to her, because if they do, it's like, we'll be called transphobic, yada yada yada. But then she then takes it upon herself to say Janelle does look like a trans and yada yada yada, which I'm saying, like, you're a trans woman and you're now using that as an insult. You're calling her trans and using it as an insult. You as a trans woman, you shouldn't be calling her trans to insult her. You catch what I'm saying? So Janelle's irritated, and then Sidney brings up this picture talking about, so she's got an old picture of Janelle basically stating that's when she looks like a trans, and it's basically this character. And 7 gets up trying to get the paper from her, and it's stupid. Like, she's doing the most. Jason is saying, like, you're doing the most, and Tamar was getting on her ass. Tamar is the perfect host for this show. Like, Tamar was holding them accountable. She was saying, like, you talk about how you this transgender diva, yada yada yada, and you represent for the community, but you up here throwing Lucky Charms, you up here talking out of turn, and you just up here acting stupid and looking dumb as fuck. And she's saying, like, you just doing this stupid shit, and it's not cool, it's not funny. Because Sidney was basically telling her, like, look at the picture, it's funny. And Sidney's sitting there laughing, and Tamar's like, that shit is not funny, it's stupid. Like, and Tamar gets up and walks off the set. And now we got to see what the part 2 is. Hopefully part 2 is going to show us more of other conversations. I don't want to hear nothing else from Sidney and Judi this next part, because we didn't get to hear nothing else because they kept interjecting, and then we had to keep worrying about wrangling them. So we'll see what's about to happen.
Queen Tamar has arrived. Back in the building.
No. So who's That's not what you said.
Please welcome Megan J.
Who's selling pussy? Somebody's, oh, I know. I know who's selling pussy. Okay.
Yes.
Megan.
A lot of people are being paid to know do not sell pussy. You can Google it and it pops up.
Our ass bend over and Google. Are y'all fucking delusional?
You guys are playing. You guys are playing. So.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh, sis. You forgot to say this is billionaire pussy, baby.
That's what the fuck you forgot to say.
Now I'm mad.
Well, you should be, because she accused you of cheating on your husband.
Oh man, like I gotta deal with that right now.
So I'm quick to just be like, what I did, and I'll do it again.
At the end of the day, you said,
So that was a real fight.
That was real,
That
baby.
was real.
I have no problem being the bad guy. They know. Everybody on the stage
Oh,
knows
since
that.
we seen.
Okay, you're fired.
Girl, let me tell you something. If I'm fired, whoever put you in that dress is fired.
You're playing victim. Nobody said shit. I said shit. That is.
Why does Natalie always get bucked with Judi? Like, she don't ever have this energy for them other girls. Like, unless there's security around. Like, why is she always attacking Judi? Like, why?
Why? We're not here.
Because she know Judi won't fight. She know Judi won't fight back. Megan, she won't bark with Megan. She won't bark with 7. She will bark with Christina, but she won't bark with Christina whenever there's not security around. But she'll bark with Judi. Like, leave Judi alone. But what are they arguing about?
I said shit. I said shit. That is why we are here. And that is why we are here. We are reminded. And we are reminded of the fact that black women brought us together.
Well,
And we
that's
can make them
different
do a
than
TV show.
I'm about to bust some shit right now.
Yeah,
I was
bust
just
your
joking.
bitch. What's
I
wrong?
was joking.
Am I point?
That's interesting. Tamar versus Megan. I'm very interested in seeing what strike that, because Tamar's been on point. Megan, for the most part, be on point. So I'm interested in seeing what caused that. But like I said, we're gonna get a whole bunch of nothing accomplished, and that's what happened. So hopefully next week we'll have something good. But this will wrap this up, and we'll see about season 2. But drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Thumbs up this video. Subscribe. Share this thing. And y'all already know what time it is. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.